For this video, we're going to keep completing the square, but now we're going to include some imaginary numbers. So for our first example, x squared minus 4x plus 9 equals 0. So right now, everything's on one side and it's set equal to 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is move my c over so that I have x squared minus 4x. I'm going to put a plus box equals, and then I'm going to move my c by subtracting 9. So that's going to become a negative 9 on this side plus that same box. Okay, we're going to figure out what goes in this box, but whatever I add to one side, I have to add to the other. So that's why I have a box on both sides. To figure out what goes inside the box, I do b divided by 2 squared. So in this case, my b is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. So I'm going to put a positive 4 in my box. Then I'm going to rewrite this side as something squared. So it's always going to be x, and it's going to be plus or minus a number. To find that number, I just do b divided by 2. Well, we said b divided by 2 is negative 4 divided by 2, which is a negative 2. So I put a minus 2 in that parentheses. This equals negative 9 plus 4, which is negative 5. Now I've got x minus 2 squared equals negative 5. To cancel out the square, I take the square root of both sides. So that leaves me with x minus 2 equals, the square root of negative 5. I'm going to come off to the side. My first step is to say I root positive 5. Okay, my only factors of 5 are 1 and 5, so I can't simplify that. So when I come back down here, I'm going to say x minus 2 equals plus or minus I root 5. Don't forget your plus or minus. It's very important. And then my last step to get x by itself is to add 2 to both sides. I'm going to put that 2 first. So it's going to be x equals a positive 2 plus or minus I root 5. And that's as far as I can go. Okay, generally speaking, you're going to take whatever this number is you move over and put it first in front of your plus or minus, whatever, whether you have a radical or imaginary number or a regular number, a rational whole number. For our next example, I've got x squared equals negative 10x minus 50. So right now my x squared term is on a different side than my x, so I'm going to get them on the same side by adding 10x. So I've got x squared plus 10x. Now they're on the same side, so I'm going to put my plus box equals negative 50 plus the same box. To figure out what goes in the box, I'm going to do b divided by 2 squared. My b is a positive 10 divided by 2 squared, so then I get 5 squared, which is 25. So I'm going to put a 25 inside the box on both sides. Your box is always going to be a positive number because a negative squared is a positive and a positive squared is a positive. So now on the left side, I'm going to rewrite it as x plus or minus something squared equals, and then negative 50 plus 25 is negative 25. To figure out what goes in my parentheses, all I have to do is b divided by 2. b is 10. 10 divided by 2 is a positive 5, so I put a plus 5. And then my next step is to take the square root of both sides. I'm going to start working my way to getting x by itself. So the square root cancels out the square. So I have x plus 5 equals square root of negative 25. I'm going to come off to the side to simplify. My next step is to put the I out front, get rid of that negative. So now I have I times the square root of 25. Well, I can simplify the square root of 25 to a 5. So this simplifies to plus or minus 5i. Then to get x by itself, I'm just going to subtract 5. So I get x equals, again, I'm going to take my number that's not plus or minus and put that first, so my negative 5, then my plus or minus 5i. And that's as far as I can go for this one.